in the hands of the pit crew and out for the night. So much
every Tasmanian deserves.
And welcome back to 7 Tasmania News. Extensive election coverage here from the tally room. We've just heard from Cassy O'Connor. Let's take a look at what she said.
Tukunanyi, Kudalina, Tawukalina and Takena. Everywhere you look are the signs of a people who lived deeply connected to nature and this island for millennia. In the open plains and grasslands, in the fire-born giant regnans towering over young forests, in tool scatters across all parts of this island. You can read this island's long human story in the coastal middens and rock depressions where women slept with their children before all was taken away with the arrival of the English and their guns. To the proud and wily Aboriginal warriors who fought for their country, to elders past and present and those who will come, I pay deep respect. The Greens will keep fighting for truth, treaty, justice and the return of lands. Well, what a beautiful autumn day. We're back. The Greens are back in town. On behalf of everyone who worked so hard on this campaign, I want to warmly thank every Tasmanian who put their trust in us today. We will not let you down. We have never let you down. We'll keep being your voice, a voice for your children and your grandchildren, for the wild places and creatures, and for what makes this beautiful island we share unique in all the world. We'll be your voice for a greener, fairer Tasmania and a cleaner democracy, and a fierce one at that. To the people of Clark, who've again voted Green, thank you. It is the honour and privilege of my life to be your representative in Parliament. I will be so proud to continue that service. And congratulations to my fellow Clark candidates for helping to make this the most fascinating and, as it turns out, most critical race of this election. To the Premier Peter Gutwein, congratulations on being resoundingly re-elected to Bass. You took a gamble on an early poll and you can't yet be sure it will pay off. If it doesn't, it's up to you what happens next. I hope you find a way to make it work for our island and its people. Congratulations, Rebecca White. I really admire your guts. Congratulations for giving it a red-hot go and for gaining momentum in the last couple of weeks. I hope you and your precious little baby get a well-earned rest in the days ahead. To everyone who ran for elected office in this campaign, good on you. It takes real guts to put yourself forward, to face the slings and arrows, knowing that all that effort may not bear fruit. But long live Tasmania's democracy. When people speak, we must obey. I am so proud of the campaign the Greens have run at this election. We've given it everything we've got and then some. We were out there from day one, ready with great candidates, so much positive energy and a hopeful vision for Tasmania's future. We knocked on thousands of doors in 5 short weeks, and we heard the mood for a greener, fairer Tasmania. Unlike our petulant, winner-take-all colleagues in the Liberal and Labor parties, the Greens will always respect the will of the people. It is the Tasmanian people who decide who governs Tasmania, not the Premier or the Leader of the Opposition. It's the people who decide. The Greens have won back Clark and Franklin with strong swings, and we are still in the race for Bass. There's been a solid swing to the Greens right across the island. We set out to make this campaign about creating a greener, fairer Tasmania, turning a social and economic crisis into a reset that creates the future so many Tasmanians, particularly young people, are yearning for. There is no going back to normal because normal wasn't working. We can do so much better by this beautiful island and its people. More than 120,000 Tasmanians live in poverty. Children are going without. Our hospitals are in dire straits. The rental and housing supply crisis is pricing Tasmanians out of their own paradise and increasingly onto the streets. And nature is under assault with a renewed level of almost gleeful intensity under the Liberals. Our mighty forest carbon banks are being flattened and burned and sent to China as chips. Our native species are being driven to extinction. The world's fastest parrot, the exquisite and miraculous swift parrot, is now said to be reduced to 300 individual birds. Our once pristine marine waters are being privatised and filled with fish shit, chemicals and marine debris by a rapacious industry that wants to double in size over the next 10 years. Not on our watch. We have to create a new future where nature is respected and protected and where no one is left behind. Only the neoliberals in both the old parties will tell you it isn't possible, but it's about the choices government makes. The Greens choose a climate-safe future for all our children and grandchildren. We choose a greener, fairer future because that's what every Tasmanian deserves. We're the only party that took a climate plan to this election. That is a shameful indictment on the two parties that have asked Tasmanians to let them run the state for the next 4 years as the climate keeps warming and the urgency grows. It is past time they woke up to the challenges and to the opportunities ahead. This little island of ours, with its extraordinary natural riches, its clever, resilient people and strong sense of community, can show the world how it's done. Step 1, we have to stop logging and burning our life-giving forests. It is a massive, loss-making crime against the planet and future generations. It's immoral to desecrate and to destroy such wonders. We need to protect what is left and restore what is lost. On a stressed planet, protection and restoration are the future, and it's where the green jobs will be found. In climate action, there is hope in abundance, and that's what the planet and our young people need right now. We also took to this election a comprehensive plan to drive a housing-led recovery, with 8,000 new energy-efficient, affordable homes in a decade and a skills drive in green building and construction. And unlike our major party colleagues, we told Tasmanians how we would fund this critical social infrastructure. We'd tax the big corporates that have been given this island's wealth, the people's wealth, at bargain basement prices. In Tasmania, big mining, logging, fish farming and gambling pay some of the lowest royalties and licence fees in the country. So do the developers moving in on our public lands and protected areas. This is robbing the Tasmanian people blind, usually at the expense of the environment. If the mining industry had paid even the national average in royalties over the past 10 years, the state budget would have been $460 million better off. People of Tasmania, you are being ripped off by both the major parties who are taking their corporate donations, then trading your treasures for trinkets. The Greens have the courage to stand up to the power and the influence of the big corporations. We always have. We all...
So we're just jumping out of that now. Cassy O'Connor, as she says, the Greens are back in town. We are just waiting for the Premier, Peter Gutwein, to come into the room. We're going to take a short break and be back to hear from the Premier in a short time.
Good evening everyone. Hobart the State's top today with 23 degrees, Launceston a top of 22, Devonport 18 and 17 in Burnie. Tomorrow's chart shows the low moving slightly east while the high remains in the Tasman Sea, extending a ridge over the eastern states. Partly cloudy in the south tomorrow with Hobart reaching 21, 23 in Richmond and Ouse. Morning fog and 22 in Launceston, Devonport 19 with a late shower or two, 19 in Deloraine. Burnie and Curry 19 degrees tomorrow, late showers and 20 in Strawn. And partly cloudy across the east with St Helens, Swansea and Whitemark all reaching a top of 21. On Monday, morning showers across the state, easing in the evening. Possible morning showers in the north on Tuesday, otherwise fine. And on Wednesday, morning fog and frost turning into a fine day. 23 in Perth tomorrow, mostly sunny in Adelaide, possible storms and 25 in Melbourne and a shower or two in Brisbane and Cairns. Good night.
With a unique, all-inclusive guarantee that covers the frame, fabric, cushions, everything, this Amart sofa is built to survive anything. Almost anything. Amart Furniture, it just makes sense.
A My Tas company, Tas Concrete Products. Tas Concrete Products have been established for over 20 years, and we are one of Tasmania's leading suppliers of precast concrete and civil products. We manufacture a vast range of concrete products, and we stock cast iron water main and drainage products. We have a large range of concrete pipes, head walls and box culverts ready for statewide delivery. My Tas recommends Tas Concrete Products for all your civil concrete product needs.
It's crucial you check what's underground first before digging your next hole. Because if you strike a high voltage electricity cable or high pressure gas main, it might be the last hole you'll ever dig. Be safe every time. Search Dial Before You Dig online every time.
Pay less this Mother's Day at The Good Guys. This Breville coffee machine $729. This Tefal air fryer $129. This Dyson Supersonic hairdryer $549. Or spoil mum with this DeLonghi coffee machine. Pay less this Mother's Day only at The Good Guys.
At Holtzmitre 10 Sorell, our friendly and knowledgeable staff can help you at our convenient drive-in trade centre. Locally owned and operated, we are mighty helpful, mighty local Holtzmitre 10, 1 Gordon Street, Sorell.
Elevate your sleep health with a mattress upgrade at Sleepy's. Purchase selected king or queen size mattresses for the price of a single. Visit Sleepy's today and reclaim your amazing with a mattress that is right for you.
Are you brave, bold, smashed it, wonderfully wacky?
What am I watching?
A world of new talent is coming, and it could include you. It's your turn to blow the world away. Will you be the next champion of Australia's Got Talent? Apply now at australiasgottalent.com.au.
Welcome back to the tally room here in Hobart, where Labor leader Rebecca White has just conceded. She spoke a short time ago here from the tally room. Let's take a look at what she had to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is clear tonight that we have fallen short of our goal to win majority Labor government. A short time ago, I rang Peter Gutwein to congratulate him on his re-election and his impressive personal result. All around the country, we've seen incumbent governments rewarded for their management of COVID-19, and there is no doubt that Peter Gutwein and our public health officials kept our community safe, and tonight's result reflects that. Peter Gutwein did call an early election because he wanted this election to be about his management of COVID-19. And tonight's outcome is a strong result for the Liberal Party and Peter Gutwein's leadership. But this election has also seen the elevation of other issues that matter to Tasmanians. And it is so important that the government listens to the concerns that have been raised throughout the course of this campaign, because the stories of Tasmanians who have been left behind cannot continue to be ignored. I hope this campaign has been a wake-up call for the Liberals that Tasmanians will not tolerate business as usual from the Liberal government. Tasmanians will not tolerate surgery waiting lists that are the worst in the country. They will not tolerate ambulance response times that are slowest in the country. And they will not tolerate Tasmanians dying in the emergency department because they can't access the healthcare they need. And Tasmanians will not continue to tolerate the endless infrastructure promises that are never fulfilled. Just because we have fallen short of forming government at this election, it does not mean that we will stop fighting to make Tasmania and a fairer place. Labor put forward a positive plan at this election to create more jobs for Tasmanians, to invest in the essential services like health and housing and education, and to make people's lives better. I'm proud of the campaign that we ran and for each of our candidates for their hard work. And I want to thank our incredible candidates who come from all walks of life and worked tirelessly knocking on doors, making calls, standing on street stalls and meeting thousands upon thousands of Tasmanians. You should all be so proud of the way that you've run your campaign. I also want to thank very much the incredible volunteers who've been tireless in their efforts to support the Labor team this election. You truly are amazing. And I want to acknowledge the members at this election who've lost their seats. And in particular, I want to acknowledge and to thank Jennifer Houston, a proud Palawa woman who has dedicated her life to her community, and to thank her for her contribution to our party and our parliament. And I also want to thank my friend Alison Standen, who's been a champion for the people of Franklin and a hard-working member of the Labor team. I don't believe that this will be the last that we see of Ali, because she's such a talent and someone who has so much to offer to the Tasmanian Parliament. I also want to thank every member of our campaign team, and in particular Stuart Benson, the State Secretary, for your incredible work and your leadership, not just through this campaign, but for many years now, and I thank you very much for that and your friendship. I want to thank my incredible staff, many are in this room with us today. I am in awe of your work ethic, your dedication, your compassion, and your ability to deliver outcomes for people. It is inspiring and it motivates me every single day. I want to thank my Parliamentary Labor Party colleagues, and I see some of them in this room. You are the best group of people I've ever worked with. We are a strong team, and I know that together we'll keep working incredibly hard for the people who've put their trust and faith in us to represent them in the Tasmanian Parliament. I am incredibly proud to call each and every one of you a friend. The Federal Parliamentary Labor Party, and in particular our Federal Labor leader Anthony Albanese and members of his shadow cabinet who've joined us in this campaign trail here in Tasmania, your support, your friendship and your interest in Tasmania is well noted. We are so lucky to have a strong Labor movement across the country that comes out in force to support our Labor campaigns no matter where they occur. And I in particular want to thank Anthony for the work that he's done to support the Tasmanian campaign this election. And of course my family, my husband Rod and my dad who are here tonight, my mum who's looking after my beautiful daughter Mia. You put up with a lot, but you're always there by my side, and I really couldn't do it without you, so thank you so much. We started this campaign with the promise that Labor would work hard every day for Tasmania. We may have fallen short of winning government this time around, but I want to thank all of those Tasmanians who put their faith in Labor. We won't let you down. We will continue to work hard each and every day, and we will keep standing up for those Tasmanians who deserve a fair go. Thank you, everybody.
Well, welcome back. So we just heard from Labor leader Rebecca White. Now, some of those things that she's spoken, and I'll talk to Richard Herr about here, that she says that we've clearly fallen short of our goal for majority government, referring really to this election as a COVID-19 election, and those incumbents have been rewarded, and said that, of course, the Premier called that early election because he wanted it to be a COVID election. Richard Herr, would you agree with those comments?
Yes, I think the polling demonstrated quite clearly that the timing and the topic for the election was the sudden bounce that the Premier got from the declaration of a crisis in March of last year. So, yes, it clearly was that. And of course, if you look at the messaging that was put in your letterbox and so forth, the first item was always keeping the state safe from COVID. So that was clearly the message that the party wanted to set out. And secondly, it was strong leadership, which was the Premier's claim to a kind of presidential style of campaigning. He was front and center, somewhat distinguished from the Labor side, which was a bit more of a team effort, but still Rebecca White was the leader. But the Liberal Party one was certainly far more presidential in style. At the end of the day, though, the question that we'll be looking at is, was it worth it? The government have now ended up with basically what looks like the same number of seats that they had after 2018. So they've used a year, they've had a year that they could have done things and produced the same result. We'll see what they have done, and that may have been worth it certainly to the Liberal Party, is sow confusion amongst their enemies, because the Labor Party is in disarray now, and that's a serious issue for Labor, how they go about rebuilding and how they deal with the factional fights within the party. This campaign, if you looked at it, Kim, was very much front-loaded with drama. All of the drama happened in the first week or so. Then after that, it was fairly flat. Now, that may have been what cost the Premier the opportunity to pick up seats. We don't know. We'll have to do some looking at the entrails of chickens and picking up the litter off the floor here. Yeah. But
because Richard, I pick you up on that point. It is interesting, isn't it? Early on, Labor was racked with some of those candidate pre-selection problems. Yep. Then they seemed to gain some ground, to the point that one of those the last leaders to date had Rebecca White as a clear winner. Where do you think it came off track or derailed?
I think partly it came off track from the point of view that there were options for people who felt they didn't want to vote for the government, but they weren't quite sure they wanted to give the vote to Labor. And that's what we saw. The interesting thing is the drift back to the Greens wasn't enormous, only 2.4 statewide. But it was a drift back to one of the three major parties, if you like, when the other two parties were losing. So they were losing ground. So to that extent, and then, of course, as we saw, the two high-profile independents in Clark picking up. Craig Garland in Braddon picked up half of the non-party vote up there, which was significant in itself. It's not enough to get a seat for him, but people were using the options that didn't go to the two major parties, and that showed up in the strength for the Greens and for the independents.
If we look at both Rebecca White and Cassy O'Connor essentially saying that we will not tolerate business as usual, do you think the Liberal Party and Peter Gutwein will take it on board that perhaps there is still some strong work to do?
Well, I think they will be relieved to have majority government back. They'll say, no, all right. Sorry.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to cross to Peter Gutwein, who is coming to the stage now.
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Could I begin by firstly acknowledging the Tasmanian Aboriginal people, their elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to begin by acknowledging my political opponents, Ms White and Ms O'Connor. This has been a hard-fought campaign, and whilst we sit at different places on the political spectrum, I know from our work together, especially early last year when Tasmania was in the grip of the virus in those first couple of months, that both of you, like me, are dedicated to serving the Tasmanian community, and I wish you both well into the future. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a night. What a night. And whilst we have won this election convincingly, it appears increasingly likely that we will also govern in majority. And whilst obviously there's some counting to be done, it would be an absolute honour and a privilege to be given that opportunity by the Tasmanian people. And we came to government in 2014 under the leadership of my good friend Will Hodgman. And for the first 6 years we worked hard. We fixed the budget, we rebuilt our finances, and we invested record amounts into essential services. And then two things changed. Firstly, Will Hodgman retired last January. My colleagues elected me to be the next Leader of the Liberal Party and Premier of Tasmania. I said then that I would lead a government of conviction, of compassion and one of opportunity for all, and that my vision for Tasmania was to ensure that no matter who you are, no matter where you live, your circumstance or background, that I wanted the opportunities that are available in our strong growing economy to be available to you, and that we would take the steps to ensure that you could grasp them. And then secondly, coronavirus emerged as a threat to our health and to our economy, and we all had to work even harder. I want to thank Tasmanians for the way that they work with me and with the government, how they helped their neighbours, how they helped their state over the last year to get on top of that deadly virus. The decisions I had to make as Premier have been among the hardest things that I've ever had to do. But Tasmanians worked together, and as a community we succeeded. Tasmanians, regardless of religion, of race, of politics, circumstance or background, held out their hands to each other in the most extraordinary and outstanding display of a common humanity that I've ever witnessed. And I want to say to Tasmanians, thank you for that, because in doing so, we turned Tasmania into one of the safest places in this country, and without doubt one of the safest places on this planet. And as a result, confidence increased. Our economy is now one of the fastest growing in the nation. Jobs have returned to pre-pandemic levels. And even today, I'm pleased to say that there are more Tasmanians in work right now than what there were before the pandemic hit. We must now build on that success. It's time for Tasmania's next chapter. To build on the 100 years of hydro development as we assist the country to transition to a lower emissions energy situation and step boldly into the new energy revolution of green hydrogen. To train and skill Tasmanian workers, young or old, in cities or in regions, for the multitude of jobs that we have available in our strong growing economy. To become the go-to state when thinking about innovation, smart manufacturing and enterprise. To build a health system that Tasmanians can be proud of, and I can assure Tasmanians that health will be better. To keep delivering more housing solutions, because every Tasmanian deserves a roof over their head. And to build better schools and better education outcomes, because every Tasmanian kid deserves the best start in life that we can give them. I have never been more positive about our state's future than I am right now. And I've never been more certain that our state's best days are still in front of us. I look forward to working closely with my Liberal colleagues and the new members of my parliamentary team. They are a dedicated and talented bunch of individuals. I've worked with some of them for nearly 20 years. They work hard, they deliver, they have Tasmania's best interests at heart, and they will continue to do so. I want to thank those people associated with the Liberal campaign who did such a fantastic job. The State President, Rod Scurra, the State Director, Stuart Smith, who just seems to work 24/7, and especially the hard-working campaign team. Thank you so very much. Elections are tough and Herr Clark is brutal. And to the fantastic, talented candidates who supported our team but weren't successful this time round, thank you for your hard work, and thank you to the teams that supported you. To my own loyal staff, who are so well led by the best Chief of Staff a Premier could ever ask for in Andrew Finch, thank you. I won't name the rest of the team, but you know who you are. You stood up during COVID and you've stayed standing up, and I'm immensely proud of you all. I do want to mention one special individual that's been with me for nearly 20 years, and that's Dorothy DeHaze. She began this journey with me when I first entered Parliament. Your loyalty, passion and hard work never ceases to amaze me, albeit at times you do get a little passionate. A little too passionate, I should say. And lastly, and most importantly, to my family, my wife Amanda, my children Millie and Finn. You keep me centred, you keep me focused. I love you and I'm so proud of you all. This is a tough job. Those that have been in it for a while understand that you can't do it without your family standing behind you, without your family carrying you at times. And I just want to say to mine, I could not have asked for one better. Thank you so much. In finishing, thank you, Tasmania, for the trust and faith that you've placed in me and the Liberal Party. I know that today many people will have voted Liberal for the first time. I will not forget the faith you have shown, and I will not let you down. We will govern for all Tasmanians regardless of who you are, regardless of where you live, regardless of your circumstance or background. And once the count is completed, we will get straight back to work and ensure that together we secure Tasmania's future. Thank you very much.
And that is Premier Peter Gutwein, flanked by his wife Amanda and children Millie and Flynn. As we see there, Peter Gutwein has claimed a convincing victory, and you can hear behind me certainly a lot of party proud also here. We're going to take a break now and then come back to analyse state election 2021.
When you go into my house next week, you're in for a big surprise. Surprise. My big week of surprises is here.
I love surprises.
Boo.
But there's one surprise that will shake up everything.
What will happen in my attic?
Big Brother Surprise Week, Sunday at 7 on 7.
A My Tas company, Tas Civil Products. Tas Civil Products is one of Tasmania's leading suppliers of precast concrete and civil products. We manufacture a vast range of concrete products and we stock cast iron water main and drainage products. We have a large range of concrete pipes, head walls and box culverts ready for immediate statewide delivery. My Tas recommends Tas Civil Products for all your civil concrete product needs.
When you call 000, we know you need help.
So we're improving how we respond to 000 calls with a new process called secondary triage.
A nurse or paramedic may assess you over the phone so we can get you the right help from the right people.
And keep our emergency ambulances for the most serious cases. We're here so you get
the right care
in the right place
at the right time. Find out more at ambulance.tas.gov.au.
Authorised by the Tasmanian Government, Hobart. Spoken by L. Hindram, P. John Koski, N. Anderson and M. Moss.
Are you one of the thousands of Australians sleeping on the wrong pillow? Then throw it out and get Super Sleeper Every Comfort. Guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you've ever had. Every Comfort has a removable filling so you can adjust it to exactly what you want. It molds to your head, neck and shoulders. So hard or soft, thick or thin, you get the perfect alignment. Thermal Cam shows it's cool to the touch thanks to the heat-dissipating Arcticool fabric. The secret is in the memory foam clusters for support and comfort, while the silk-brushed polyester provides airflow and movement. Forget yellow-stained pillows. Every Comfort cleans easy. Just pop it in the wash. If you get a sore neck or wake up tired, call 02 9387 4100. Get to supersleeperpro.com.au and get your Super Sleeper Every Comfort, and we'll give you this comfort case valued at $15 absolutely free, plus a 120-night sleep guarantee. Order right now and we'll double the whole offer. Buy one, get one free. That's 2 Every Comfort pillows plus 2 storage bags. Call now or go online and don't miss out.
Here at Herr, we are passionate about energy efficiency. If you have high power bills, suffer from window condensation or have freezing bedrooms, then you need to see the thermal efficiency professionals at Herr. From solar energy, LED lighting and heat pumps to ducted air circulation and home batteries, we can help you make the right choices for your lifestyle and budget. Visit your closest friendly Herr store or call us to get a free statewide quotation. Feel the Herr difference.
Super Cheap Auto's catalogue sale is on now. Check out this new look Army Star tool cabinet, only $479. Or this new Army Star safe case, just $34.99.
Enjoy the following specials at 9/11. Corona Extra 12 packs 2 for $53. 40 Spotted Wild Rose Gin $54.99. Or Clarence Plains JB Pinot Noir 2 for $50. But only at
9/11 your bottle shop.
And welcome back to the tally room where Premier Peter Gutwein has claimed a convincing victory. He was flanked by his wife Amanda, children Finn and Millie at that stage. With me on the panel to wrap up our state election 2021 telecast is Sean McComish, political reporter, and Professor Richard Herr, political analyst. Sean, let's start with you. You've been on the campaign trail now for the full 5 weeks. Is this where you thought we would be tonight?
Yes. I think the first couple of weeks we just saw a disastrous campaign from Labor, and Rebecca White was correct when she said that the campaign or the election could really be defined in 2 terms. Gutwein was focusing on the past year, the COVID year. Rebecca White was trying to focus on the last 7, and I think what we've seen is very much people focusing on the last year. People we've interviewed in the street in the past week, COVID has been the #1 issue that they have named.
We've seen 4 other states and territories go down this election path. All of them incumbents have been returned. This is another case of that, isn't it?
Very much so, and I think one of the things I've wondered is whether states have gained a more or a stronger sense of state identity and have backed their leaders because of that very reason. We've had closed borders and, you know, a greater sense of, oh, we're West Australian, we're Tasmanian, or we're Victorian, and states have been sort of almost pitted against each other during the COVID lockdowns and the COVID border closures.
What is different, I guess, in Tasmania, and Richard Herr, if you could speak to this, is our Herr-Clark system.
Yeah.
So that has thrown a spanner in the works, but again, we've ended up with that result of majority government.
Indeed. Well, it's gone the other way, I think. It's put guardrails on how far elections can deviate in terms of whatever. I think the government was certainly hoping to expand on the 13 seats it had. It didn't get that, but it also, as we were saying earlier, it sowed a great deal of confusion amongst its opponents because, except for the Greens, who may pick up a seat, Labor clearly has lost a couple of seats, and that is going to be a serious issue for them in terms of rebuilding after this and getting their message through. The message that we found in the exit polling is that people were not altogether sure about what the message was supposed to be. They knew it was about things they cared about, education, health, hospitals, etc. But at the end of the day, I think Sean is right. When it began with that element of confusion, it was very difficult for the Labor Party to actually regroup and to get back on message.
So, Richard, you said we're looking at the status quo of 13 seats for Liberal. Yep. Was it worth going to an election and going to an election early?
Well, I think the Premier will say yes because he's got his majority, but he still ends up with the same situation he had in 2018. He'll have to have a Speaker, and the Speaker will have a casting vote. Now, there will be a bit more diversity on the crossbenches. Labor is going to go through a bit of bloodletting itself and working out why it performed so badly. So the opposition won't be as strong for him. Here we go with the state of the House. And what we can see is we've confirmed 13 seats for the Liberals. We've got 8 seats confirmed for Labor, 2 for the Greens, and we have 2 seats in doubt. One of those 2 seats is in Bass, where it could be either Labor or the Greens. And then, of course, the other seat in doubt isn't in doubt in the sense that it will go to an independent. But at the moment, what we've seen is Christy Johnston is picking up a little bit of a lead going into the end of the night. There's still votes to be counted in Clark. But Sue Hickey or Christy Johnson will be the independent from there. It's just we don't know which of the 2 to pick at this stage.
I guess we're looking here now at Clark, which of course we were watching from the very start of tonight. Perhaps if you talk to that.
Yes, well, that's actually widened the gap between Christy Johnson and Sue Hickey that I saw earlier when we were preparing, but it still ends up, as we'll see. The interesting thing is the distance between Madeleine Ogilvie and Simon Baracus is too close to call. One of them will join Elise Archer, but you see, at the moment, Elise Archer doesn't have a surplus to distribute. So it will have to come from other Liberals on the ticket and other independents and so forth to tell us who's going to pick up that between those 2. And otherwise, that's covered really Clark. We've got only those 2 questions in doubt as to which personalities will occupy the seats in Clark.
In terms of personalities as well, we've spoken about Clark. Franklin, interestingly, Dean Winter, the Mayor, looks set for a seat there. Yes,
Dean Winter, the Labor selection of Dean Winter proved that it was what they should have done from the beginning, because we've ended up with Dean Winter actually in front of David O'Byrne here. Not by much, there's basically neck and neck, but clearly at the cost of Alison Standen, who had been a good parliamentary performer, as Beck White said, but now that's at least temporarily at an end because she doesn't have the votes to hold her seat.
And just finally to Braddon, again, there'll be a loss there. Adam Brooks looks like he has a seat at the expense of Felix Ellis.
Or
or
Jench.
Jench.
We can't pick it between those two because, again, Jeremy Ratcliffe has such a large surplus. It's where his surplus goes to that will decide which of those two ends up in Parliament.
Okay, thanks so much. Thank you to Professor Richard Herr for your expert analysis tonight, also to our political reporter Sean McComish, and to our team right across the state who've been bringing you the state election 2021, a night where the Liberals came back to power with a majority government. Good night.